They possibly waiting there for the next game, maybe. But in the meantime, we can therefore at least look what kind of draft we have here for example, the maps. So let me have a look. So for the maps, we're gonna be having Team Islands. Wow, as a home map for actually the Czechs. The Germans are going to be having Team Acropolis. That's so far providing also quite a bit long games. No, already actually, basically most of the games are quite a bit long. So, slightly getting worried about the best of fives already. As they're gonna be probably quite a bit of a slogfest for like 4 or 5 hours, almost all of them, or quite commonly. Now we'll see, but theoretically actually this is a fairly equal round, right? The first one. The second is probably gonna be, no probably, that's where the favorites come in. So the second round should be having like half the matches probably equal, and half of them are probably gonna be a bit more straightforward for the kind of top teams. Third one is gonna be again a bit more challenging, and that's gonna be the best of 5. Second round is gonna be still BO3. So the second round will be mixed bag, and the third one will be probably where the longer matches are gonna happen already, because that's gonna be the fight for the main event. So Chaos Spit, Golden Lakes, Arabia, ban on Arabia, Nomad, Black Forest, and Arena. Yeah, I can say right now the Czechs kind of, you can definitely see what they don't want to play, right? They don't want to be playing open maps, like absolutely clearly open, like straightforward maps. So they just want to be playing something a bit specialized. Whereas on the other hand, that's a bit on the opposite side. The Germans just do not want to be playing closed maps. And no, Nomad is like map of its own. It's kind of like hard to say. It's a bit slower one, so you could be probably saying that it's somewhat fit in with the Black Forest and Arena in there. But can be played also quite a bit differently if you're gonna be spawning or getting your TC right next to your opponent. Okay, seems like a Team Acropolis is going to be up. Yeah, currently looking at the Age of Mythology match that I was mentioning about now, I don't really see the players of the teams even on, so yeah, I'm really thinking it's supposed to be weekend, so it's not supposed to be today, even though the game is missing, or the date is missing, so we should be having enough time, and good opportunity to have a full evening of Nations Cup 2023, hosted by Wertical, Akkal, enmipho, Paradox 303, and Welcome to Rapture, and plenty others, like for example the map scripters, AJFE, T-West, Zetnus, and probably others, and of course authors of the maps. No, and then whom? Go Calderon for the graphics, also worthy to be thanking, and they are also gonna be admins for the Bronze League and the Silver League. Let me right now find on the Discord who to thank for putting in the time and effort then. For the Silver League, that's gonna be Adiko, who also is partly responsible for the prize pool collection on the Matcherino, Hagi, Agent P97, and Negodrama. And Bronze League admins are going to be Daisy Chain, Big Walt, Mr. Beaver, and Banstenak 19. And then also there are some other people maybe to thank, like for example for the tool on the graphics. As I mentioned, Go Calderon is the original author, but then was Hesemi, or Heshemi, not sure how he's supposed to be pronounced, who has actually made the tool on the interwebs. You can be just getting the logo for the tournament with different flags on the side, according to actually your teams or the colors that you want to be promoting. And there was also, I think Chupta, right, is the name, who is actually working on the merchandise. And by the way, Kurtle, if you are around, that's like an official merchandise therefore. Or is that something like a, I don't know, some blues affiliation or anything? because I've already seen that people are gonna be buying from them. But from what I've understood, it looks like that it's kind of like that you, with agreement with you, that it's gonna be going into also the price pool and whatnot. That would be kind of maybe nice to be having some clarification on that, maybe even in announcements or anything, so that people know if it's legit, that it's legit, and if not, then they'll be there for knowing what's up. Okay, so what did they talk about? Who was complaining, Chris? Okay, so what does he have right about now? Going for the piggy, there's gonna be one patch. They can be spawning also a bit wildly, for example, on the cliffs. So you need to be looking around maybe a bit more thoroughly, rather than actually relying on the fact that maybe the map is broken or whatnot. Okay, you could say so, that he approached you saying that 50% goes into prize pool. Now, from what I have seen, he was kinda mentioning that most goes into prize pool and the other part goes into some charity, right? But that would be good to be making sure that the charity is a real thing. I don't want to be like doubting him, but yeah, you don't want to be, of course, affiliated with something that might be proven to be not like truly honest, right? So I don't know. It's probably something that should be somewhat handled a bit more thoroughly, to be honest. Making sure the charity is going to be real. And everything. Because it seems to be somewhat like a, I don't know how to say that in English. It's kind of like a bit random. Yeah, some kind of school teaching woodwork. Interesting. So you could theoretically make even some kind of like prizes for the successful teams, right? Could be making some interesting trophies or kind of like plaques, rather. Not sure if that's gonna be like the idea or whatnot. To be like an interesting, like a thanks, I guess, that he's having this opportunity as well. Or I mean, like having his opportunity. It kind of goes both ways, I guess. He wants to be also doing something for the community, but yeah, well, it's also a bit of a promotion of his business, I guess. At least partly. But yeah, well, whatever the case, let's therefore at this point go into the second game, which is going to be between Czech Republic B and Germany I on Team Acropolis. That's the home map for the Germans. But we are going to be therefore having Simonz with Chinese here, and he was therefore having the deer to the bottom. To the top side were the deer for Christheco, playing with the Gurjaras. Next player will be Krvemlik, playing with Frankies in the pocket. As a deer, and he's putting it and pulling it from the left, okay, from there. And therefore that means that red, who is gonna be vertical, with Ethiopians as the last one, he is having, yeah, I can say it now, they have all of them, but they apparently weren't aware that they can be spawning very wildly. They can spawn quite a bit far away on the cliffs. So yeah, that's probably what they didn't entirely realize that it could be. As for the other team, for the Germanos, they're gonna be apparently switching some players, as they have very wide actual lineup. As opposed to the Czechs. The Czechs are having like 3 more players, if I'm not mistaken. But the Germans are having like 10 players, 11 or whatever, all together in the team. So you can see some switches, but MAYhem is gonna be the same, playing with the Mayans here on the flank. In the pocket, we're gonna be having Stynz, who's gonna be a new one from KO19. And KO19 was in the same clan for Lord Turfux. Thinking it might have been. Coincidentally the same color. Playing with the Burgundian. Magyars are gonna be played on the flank, actually, from AenyBaenaeny. There's a new player here. Good goal, by the way. Nice falling already underway as well. And nothing much more to be said about him. Just gonna be curious to notice if he's gonna be cavalry archering or if it's gonna be cavalry. But considering that the last player is gonna be Lord Turfux, and yeah, just gonna the answer to KO19, and forgot to be looking at the mod. No, so maybe for the next match, I guess. As it's gonna be Lord Turfux playing with the Berbers. So actually fairly good saves for the Germans, to be honest. I'm liking them quite a lot. For the other team, they're not bad. I don't want to say that. But yeah, should be a good match. Should be a pretty decent match. And before we actually get anywhere, because some early ratings here are on this level, I guess probably not entirely expected. maybe just a bit later. Let's also have a look at the draft on the civilizations that we can theoretically expect on the last map if it's gonna be played. Okay, so what do we have left? Spaniards, Koreanos. What is going on here? There's some kind of attack somewhere. Looks like it's not gonna be anything too serious, just trying to right now block Wertical. Quite a bit of a forward barracks, probably trying to serve as a bit of a wall right now for it, as archers of course for the Ethi. Now we should be seeing some kind of at least small feudal armies, but the pockets, that's a bit open. That could very easily be Castle Age, and it's gonna be probably for Turfux. He's advancing at 25 wills. So Turfux is slightly fast castling with the Berbers, which makes sense. Or at least faster castling, we'll see. Yeah, BO3 they are definitely gonna be plenty best of 5s, as we have for example seen in the show matches. That's a whole lot more open. You're absolutely right. That's already where the secondary civilizations are gonna be coming in, like for example Incas and whatnot. I don't get entirely played too often. And I'm just gonna waiting how the meta is gonna develop in here, because there haven't been any serious 4v4s for a long time on something else than Black Forest in the Rage Forest, and therefore so far it seems to be kind of like all aggro. For example, on the open maps like Arabia, you're going to be having effectively everybody going for the feudal age war. Then there's gonna be a serious castle age, and I'm just waiting if there's gonna be some comeback into fast castles, because that used to be a thing a few years back in AOC. Fast castles in the pockets were fairly common, so I'm really curious if that's gonna be a thing here in the current state of the game, or if the players have determined that it's maybe not worthwhile. Just kind of waiting for somebody like Winchester, and yeah, because Winchester is really one of the more outstanding players I ever remember from RTS League times, but it was 3v3, which is a bit different, but still. As with Berserkers, the Vic clan, he was always playing pocket, and he was always such a game-changing player, really. One of the best pockets, like almost every season. And he was able to really pull his team quite a bit far away. Their best result was in one of the seasons, kind of like 3 or 4 from the end. I think they were like in the quarterfinals. They might have actually gotten into semifinals once. They might have been 4th. Because I do remember having some really good achievement for them once. Thinking it might be actually losing in the bronze match. But yep. That's not something that you'd be expecting basically from a team where you have Winchester. Then they were playing with Warrior always. And they were playing then some of the seasons like this. I think a bit Dark was playing with them. Who was at that point not as great as he is today. He was already quite a bit solid. Kind of reaching the 2Ks on Woobly and whatnot, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I think actually thinking more like 1900 probably. That was like 5 years back. So yeah, it's also kind of interesting to see the development of the players, of course, all over the years. Kids right now should be moving the Spearman, because he's blocking the path in there for a moment. But we haven't entirely gotten the opportunity to look back at the civilization, so I guess gonna be maybe just having a look at that after. When the game is gonna be possibly done, or if there's gonna be some kind of weird interim. But frankly, usually the action is somewhat continuous when you are getting already through the early stages. So you're gonna be in, but we do have plenty of archers currently for Wertical. 12 or kind of like 11 of them and spearmen, so that's gonna be more than enough. Especially since he's also Ethiopian. Yeah, the fast castles are definitely something I remember vividly. That they used to be way more common. Currently in the show matches it's quite a bit evident. Everybody just takes to the fight as early as possible. Team walls were also more common. You are right about that. Definitely some of the best teams on the team, as you can say it now. That's actually a fairly bad fight for Stynz, unfortunately for him. Krvemlik definitely owning him, but that's because he's the Frank. And he's not only having the extra HP, but also apparently upgrade into defense. So well done. And what I wanted to say is the team walls, new chapter. They were kind of like well known for walling. And they, for example, it was the most funniest for them. And with them it was on Arabia. They always kind of walled even Arabia. Even the most extremely open maps, they just kind of like worked from the start diligently to even stonewall Arabias. It was really funny. But yeah, well, that's of course how they got their successes. So something to be said about that. And we actually do see some attempts And I've seen some attempts in the show matches in some team walls, but it wasn't that extreme yet. And again, I'm just kind of looking forward how in the 2 months or 2.5 months or how long the tournament is going to be, the meta is going to develop. I'm really thinking there are going to be some changes because people are simply not used to this kind of play. Experts do not play too many team games, and if so, then it's going to be usually something like BF, right? So, yeah. I'm expecting the changes are going to be coming. So, Kemlaches from the Berber. Maybe a bit interesting, he's going actually directly into them. That he's not going and starting with some knights to have a bit of a raiding party. And then logically switching into this, because you always want to be ending with those, sure. But having the early discounted knights is actually a pretty good bonus. As you can see to the right, you're gonna be trying to break through into AenyBaenaeny, with otherwise the economies 40s for Simonz and MAYhem on each side, Chinese and Mayans, and otherwise it seems to be somewhat okay. It's a kind of slightly better pockets, it looks to me, for the Germans, whereas Wertical is gonna be quite a bit high in there with Ethiopian. So per teams they seem to be having somewhat similar economies. Yeah, the walls kind of like breached a bit easier. I don't know. I don't actually entirely think that it's actually that much of a reason, to be honest, because the walls, in my opinion, still do serve the purpose they are supposed to be serving. It's kind of like always a bit funny to me that the walls are still a topic. Because, for example, walls, in my opinion, walls are absolutely excellently done in Age of Mythology. Like, if somebody wants to be fixing the walls, then take inspiration from there. Basically, even Ensemble Studios, the original design of the walls there is actually pretty good. The only problem was that there was, for some reason, I don't know if it was some omission or what, kind of like a feature that walls were repaired almost instantly in Age of Mythology. That you could be repairing with one villager against like a whole army. So that was obviously fixed in the balance patches. But otherwise the walls are serving quite a good purpose in there. They are not too strong, but they do give you extra seconds, basically to give you warning that somebody is going to raid you. And that's, in my opinion, actually a pretty good kind of like way to think of walls, instead of just being a complete non-entry. You can see even the bear here. The Krvemlik already going for some counter raid. And at the same time, also important part in Age of Mythology is that you do not take down pieces of the wall, but basically whole sections of the wall. So basically, if you do have some wall, like there is some kind of nice wall here, in Age of Mythology, typically, if you would be attacking this, you would be basically attacking the whole part, and the whole part would be falling down if you would be destroying it. So that's something that also, in my opinion, is a really great idea, and really something that does make the walls a lot more manageable and a lot more reasonable. Because, for example, here the problem is basically you're gonna be able to quick wall it immediately when the one hole is breached. Then you're just gonna need to be dropping a house or one palisade chip beyond that, and it's gonna be blocked. But in Age of Mythology you can't do that. So that's, in my opinion, one of the actually important parts. Rams do have such a logic, siege rams, right? Do have the logic here in Age of Empires too. But maybe actually if that was improved for, I don't know, like in general the attack, if it could be actually thought of that way, and if it can be actually programmed that way, maybe it could be... No, it will be definitely changing the game seriously, but I don't think it will necessarily be in a bad direction. That's gonna be some kind of nice raid in here. So of course Stynz already early Cavaliers in the Castle Age to actually a fairly solid effect. And the problem is this is already a double. And you can see at the not arbalest but crossbowmen for Wertical are gonna be having to still wait a bit longer. So entirely fully ready with that yet. As you can see to the top side, there seems to be also Christheco flaring in the enemy base. So it seems like they're gonna be raided with Simonz, but I don't want to be leaving this fight. With Ethiopian at 16, then we're gonna be having 19 still for MAYhem, who probably won't be having any kind of extra upgrade. Nope. Doesn't have, for example, Thundering to mitigate the advantage of the Ethiopian, and unfortunately with the horses extra, since we don't have enough from Krvemlik right now back, this is going to be still resulting into a fairly good approach into the Czech base. You can see at least a bit of army right now coming back to defend, with apparently archers right now probably ready to be destroyed also by AenyBaenaeny, having tons of units, same as Turfux, not having tons, but at least something, and he needs to be taking a few knights, going from behind to be fixing the bad pathfinding in the... Come on, it's really surprisingly easy maneuver, and again, not even experts actually do that. Lately I've started seeing it a bit more, Seems like it maybe somebody already figured it out, or don't want to be presumptuous on Age of Empires 2 stream that somebody listened to my stream. But I'm kinda saying that for years and years, that people should be doing that. But in Age of Mythology, I can definitely take credit for some things changing in the meta. But yeah, well, that's of course a bit of a different audience. But nonetheless, seems like the defense has been alright now achieved, whereas all the way to the right side. And it's going to be actually fairly good trade in here as well by Christheco. Good job. Can't say it now, unfortunately. AenyBaenaeny, well, he defended at home well. He's gonna be down to only 45 villages due to this nice little play. As all the way to the top, we're gonna be having not any kind of raid, as we can't be getting through. Maybe here to the top. There's gonna be in a moment also some opening and breach. But Late Cuff could be having a few kills also in the middle, possibly. Thinking that the possibility is there and chance. But okay, that is a bit of idle time in. All the way into the middle, nothing much. Seems like Turfux and AenyBaenaeny are gonna be getting ready. Possibly for some counter attack. No, but it almost looks like that while the attack on the left side was nice, it maybe is gonna be right now following in similar footsteps as the previous game, where the Czechs were pressured early and fairly decently by Germany I. But yeah, well, they're gonna be running a bit out of breath currently, as it's gonna be only MAYhem just gonna keeping it up with Stynz. As the others... No, simply seems like they didn't do entirely enough damage, let's gonna put it that way. As the economy, as you mentioned, 45, 55 and 60s for the Germans. And for the Czechs, we do have there for 44, 58, 63, 73. So in general, we do have... No, about like maybe 10 villages better economy for the Czechs. So again, not a huge problem yet for the Germans, but again, it's probably gonna be having a bit of a tendency to escalate, probably. Otherwise, on the military, we do have approximately for the Germans some 37 to 80 units, whereas for the Czechs, we are gonna be standing at about, actually 70? Oh, about like 70. So it seems like it actually the Czechs are a bit lower on the military so far. So far they certainly are, but currently this is gonna be a good victory on the defense, but that's kinda how the map is, right? Team Acropolis is all about some good defensive postures and hard to be climbing the hills, massive hill advantage from that. So that's why it's hard to be sieging these positions and these maps, as going after a house, no. It would be probably better to try and target the palisade, especially if you do have two sides open, so you can fit two knights from each side. So that would be a bit better than the housey. Still 900 versus 250 HP, whereas through the left that's some forgotten Shrivamsha, who's probably gonna be getting rid of at this point. Because you could be wanting to think that this is actually somewhat of a useless adventure for MAYhem, but in reality it actually somewhat isn't. Because if you're gonna be constantly having the blinking on the map, then you might be very easily missing potential bigger attack. If there would be like some kind of reinforcements like these guys, for example, coming up and breaking through. So it's kind of like always a good idea to at least keep it in the forefront of your mind if you can't be just directly getting rid of it, because really just don't want to be getting used to something, and the human brain is really, if it is champ at something, it is getting accommodated to practically anything. So if you're gonna be having plenty blinking, plenty attacking alerts, you're just gonna be getting a bit blind to it very soon. Okay, that's actually a very good trade currently, and that's, oh, that's already opening, of course, to the top side as well. So this could probably quite a bit suck, as we though need to be looking a bit elsewhere. That's gonna be to the right. That's even a castle, and unfortunately AenyBaenaeny is gonna be a bit slower to notice, so the army came in way too late. Okay, Imperial Age for MAYhem, that's gonna be the very first, oh no, second after Simonz, who is already through. There's gonna be some small raid in here, but it looks like they're gonna be able to handle it with just like one villager dead, it looks like, maybe. So not a serious problem, whereas to the right that's going to be only some Shrivamshas. Looking maybe for some TCs, some kind of market maybe set up, whatever along those lines that could be going on there. No, but new TC, well, he kinda needs the wood. But obviously this is gonna be fairly close potentially to this abuse as well, as we probably could be using some extra trebuchet here for the Chinese. Like one trap wouldn't be such a bad idea, in my opinion. He does have the resources, and there we go. It's gonna be actually getting 2 of them immediately, with also last archer armor, you're getting chemistry, so he's gonna be having almost everything, and no, full everything for the archers. And will be also a bit of a question if he's gonna be wanting to switch into some Chukoneros. It's a bit expensive still, elite Chukonos, rocketry, so it's not for free, and you can see the economy is somewhat, oh well, not bad, but he's only at 122 pop limit. And he's having how many villages? Only 90. And that's actually fairly curious right about now thing. Not like that it's surprising me too much. As we have, for example, seen on Tuesday in the first matches, also some economies slightly actually below what you'd be sometimes expecting. But since you're at 36 minutes here on Acropolis, and basically nobody has reached 100 villages yet, then that's a bit curious, considering that we do have, of course, fairly protected pockets. So this map is absolutely asking to be having some, even with Castle Age army, you should be able to get some decent echo going with extra TCs. But the cavalry is gonna be missing attack, otherwise everything there for the Burgi. Crossbowmen 2-1, Arbalest 3-1 for the Mayans, so he's still missing currently, for example, chemistry. Simonz invested into echo, and that's pretty much it for the upgrades, at least for the time being. No, first 100 is gonna be there for Christheco at 102, and the economies at this point, you can definitely tell that the Czechs are running away from the Germans. There's gonna be some nice raid in here to the top, and that actually already is. Maybe that was the earlier some Shrivamshas or what was there, but this definitely looks like the TC will be also soon on the crumbling parts, with Newcastle coming forward from Simonz, and at least the defensive for MAYhem, but with the trebuchets is not going to be doing entirely enough. So the question is if this castle is gonna get finished, looking at the camel archers there. Okay, village is out, that means also village is back in. Yeah, we're just a bit too hasty in there, needs to be getting a few more cavaliers in here. But whatever the case, let's therefore head all the way on the other side. This is going to be already somewhat living its own life there. As we do see some destruction of the Shrivamshas, but it's because we simply did have a good army from Stynz and MAYhem ready. Krvemlik not being entirely careful here. Yeah, not paying attention. Just chilling with the relic through almost the battlefield here. What a boss. No, but this is gonna be really hard to get through. I mean, like, it's only crossbowman. As he is not actually even advancing into Imp, and you can see he's not even gonna be advancing into Imp. But same goes for Lord Turfolks. Unfortunately, getting wheelbarrow only now, 40 minutes, it's a bit later one, even for an archer save. And then we do have blue, yellow, and teal. So basically most of the players from the bottom, from the top team rather, from the Germans, is still gonna be stuck in Castle Age. So that's definitely not boding too well for them. As Christheco, where the Gurjaras is gonna be soon through. And he's having good numbers, 44 units currently, so there's gonna be some good power spike as the castle, no, somewhat actually half expectedly not finished. And somebody needs to be repairing here. And that somebody already is, but he seems to be missing, yeah, he's missing stone, he just needs to be buying it here and there. Okay, and last hit. Oh, such a shame. That could have been repaired by MAYhem if we only realized actually what the situation is. But nonetheless, that's therefore not gonna be a thing here for him, as all the way to the top, just some remaining Shrivamshas, nothing too major, and all the way to the left side there is going to be even a bear taking a bit of a fight against currently Grey, who's gonna be trying to get maybe a few castles in here. Or a bit of stone into castles rather, let's probably say that way. Through the mid, apparently not much. Seems like it already... Teal, did he get back or did he lose the army? Well, he kinda like halfway lost it, he's down to only 16. So you're gonna be also looking at Grey at 56, so Grey actually still does have a really solid army. Something that maybe like halfway fell back. They didn't get necessarily destroyed in there. As to be honest, I don't entirely even see what kind of army could be causing it to them to be honest too much, since we are seeing mostly just yellow with light cavalry. And that's also a bit of an interesting combination that basically at this point he's having literally just knights, because he's stuck in the Castle Age still at 43 minutes. Krvemlik kind of missed his opportunity for the Imperial, and he is at 107 villages. That's also kind of leading one thing to the other. As I mentioned earlier, that we are on lower echoes than we should be, or than ideally the players would be at this point. And that's also resulting into missing the Imperial Ages. No, and of course, missing everything else then. So that's why we're gonna be having such weird things as actually knights and light cavalry from the Frank fighting against the Arbalests, which logically doesn't result into that much of a fun time for the Frank. It's probably gonna be fine. You can see castle has been cleared as well here. Don't have anything new necessarily, as that's gonna be just a new town center for the Magyar. Just protecting, I guess, the bit of woodline and maybe even access to the base in there. No, but the echoes, you can see 115 times 2 for Krvemlik and Simonz. Then on the left, the other players, 125 for Chris, Wertical at 94. He's luckily archer-sieve, and he's having 77 archers, so he doesn't need the echo that much. He's gonna be careful enough, as that's gonna be just some idle signal. No, but apparently MAYhem would be very much liking to get those golds. Yeah, he would very much like so. With both the castle actually and a TC. Let's see if this is gonna be blocked or not. As army is finally coming forward, and that's gonna be very good timing, because he's right now freshly into Imperial Age. 38 versus 59. I mean, like, he wants to be pushing in to be stopping the castle, I can understand that. But I wonder if maybe it would be just okay to let the castle stand, and then just gonna simply take it down after. It's gonna be fine, it looks like. Racer is gonna be almost in. Right now, of course, Arbalest in a moment as well. But he just needs to be... No, if he actually went in to stop the castle, then unfortunately he didn't entirely do enough of a good job with that. Because the castle is still up, and right now is basically a waste of lives in there for him. An inefficient fight, so that's a bit of a missed opportunity. But yeah, I think they should be able to get rid of this very easily. Just needs to be dropping some siege workshop and a few rams, and he's gonna be fine. Or traps, or bombards as an Ethiopian. That's a classic unit that you're gonna be making. And also would be interesting to therefore get the torsion engines for the bombards. Would be easing his time against all the grey archers, of course. That would also help, as we have apparently broken... Oh, we have broken through into Enclave here for grey. No, and he's gonna be instantly to 63 villages. He lost legitimately like maybe 20-30 villages just here in that one spot. And it seems like it's gonna be also getting a bit worse currently for Stynz. Definitely. Definitely. Whereas through the right flank, now we already do have some new good army for Simonz at 50 Arbalesters, and he's gonna be faced with 44 Camel Archers, which are unfortunately missing some upgrades as well, even though he's gonna be improving that, being freshly in the Imp. But Blue also has lost tons of echo here. He's gonna be down to literally 19 villages, so I'm thinking that we are gonna be seeing a bit of a sunset of, right now, Germany I in the match, and therefore they are going to be playing in the Wood League. So far, I've seen it hard to imagine how this could be turned around here. This is effectively right now turning into a bit of a 2 versus 1, with so far Simonz apparently handled probably both of them quite a bit alright. Without too much of a complication. You can see the halberdiers fairly well controlled by him. No, and apparently even Grey is gonna be making his way all the way from the other side of the map. Yeah, that's gonna be small complication for him. But like 60 archers against 40. Doesn't have to be actually a losing situation still for Orange, to be honest. As the Mayan does have Thumbring, economically he's very low in there. You can see the Chinese is gonna be much better off. For the Camel Archers, he's also gonna be having everything ready. And I like him right about now, all the flags actually here. Yeah, he was actually shift clicking, right? Yeah. He was actually somewhat like shift clicking or whatever onto the different archers in there. Interesting. Yeah, that's a bit of a system how you can be actually playing with the archers as well, to be honest, so it's just kinda curious to be randomly noticing it in the fight. And that's where the GG is gonna be already called, as all the way here through the bottom. That was already also Christheco trying to get through with a few trebuchets and further. And, well, all the way to the left, just gonna complete campaign. Just going even after any kind of new villager coming from the TC. And on the left side we are getting deeper into enemy territory as well. So that means that therefore Czech Republic B is gonna be successful in their match in the first round of the Qualification of Nations Cup 2023. So congratulations, getting a second victory as well. Where do I have the scoreboard? And that's gonna be the first match of today, also finished. And Mafia Cervantes, thank you for the follow. Okay then, so let's therefore have a look somewhere further. Interesting that, for example, yellow Krvemlik was getting fletching. Was it for castle? Yeah, it was for castle. Wow, Spain A. Yeah, that's... I mean, like, they weren't entirely as powerful when I was streaming the show match. They were playing against Mexico, right? But yeah, well, this... frankly, that should be quite clearly above. Not to be spoiler here and spoil sport, but that's a different level than right now the Czech Republic B team. Even just Statoch is gonna be enough of a game changer in there, and the other players are also pretty high level, so I'm expecting that that's gonna be one of the more maybe actually clearer sides, but we might be actually seeing some coast maps. The Team Islands probably, since they were chosen as for the Czechs as the home map. Maybe that's something for the Spanish to prepare for. Market already also coming down, so starting to prepare for the next game, or next progress of the game. And that was interestingly Stynz trying to basically like even circumvent the opponent, trying to get into gold apparently. But yeah, well, that was just a bit too ambitious with the state of the game. So Purple was trying to get maybe some castle himself, not sure. No, he was just getting the gold here. He was getting just the gold. But yeah, Gurjaras, alright. Can say right now MAYhem just completely already demolished in his base as well. Can say right now down to 6. Just Lord Turfux right now remaining with some reasonable numbers. The army is still something there. But yeah, well, the Czechs for the past 10 minutes are quite clearly getting ahead and aiming for the win. So let's have a look at upgrades. Gurjara, Christheco is gonna be having very good ones for the Echo here. That was really the story for both games. Good early push for the Germans, and then Czechs basically like turning it around economically effectively. That's how it often goes, with some kind of good experience, and we can be there for having good upgrades also for the Frankie. Nothing too shabby there. For the Ethiopian, also fairly high. The 2-man so at 50 minutes would be somewhat of a good upgrade to have. I can say it now, for example, the Chinese is gonna be much higher off, much higher up rather. Now I guess in the meantime, can also kind of check which kind of match we are gonna be streaming next, because there should be right now 2 going on: Netherlands C versus Scotland A. And there should be also Hungary B versus France E. So I'm not sure which one is being streamed, if any is being streamed. So probably we'll be liking to do the one that isn't. Or at least continue with the match, because then in about an hour at 22 GMT, there's going to be Argentina G versus UK E. Theoretically, we might be doing that as a live match possibly. We'll see. But nonetheless, let's therefore have a look on the other team. That's going to be Lord Turfux. Yeah, of course, a bit lower on the Echo, missing the hand card there, definitely. For the Magyar, even actually wheelbarrow the whole game. Missed a good timing in there for it. Burgundian, of course, is gonna be a bit better upgraded. Should be having 2-man and crop rotation as well with the discount he has. And the last player is gonna be Teal. And yeah, well, unfortunately also missing hand card. Second farm and 2-man saw, also something that to be useful for him by this time in the game. Okay, let's therefore have a look into post-game. That is going to be Chris with the highest scores with Simonz being the next. Yeah, based on the progress, seems to be making sense. From the opposing team, I'll be thinking that probably MAYhem. It's kind of reasonably high there. With Lord Turfux as well. As for the kills, no. Christheco, look at actually how many he did manage to kill. Wow. That's quite a bit actually unexpected. That he's so outstanding. I haven't noticed him that often in the fights to be getting so many kills. So I guess he was just diligently picking them up here and there. And getting also the kills with the raidings. He was doing a lot of those beyond the enemy bases. The purple Shrivamshas were there like almost all the time. Largest armies, for example, AenyBaenaeny, you can say right now, biggest army at 19. Stynz at 32, that's the cavalry Civilisations. Krvemlik not entirely that much higher up at 39. But Christheco, for example, had 77, probably somewhere near the end already. Okay, so what here? MAYhem and Wertical, for example, it's going to be like 1,000. That's going to be like 2.5. That's going to be 1,000 to the top. But like 2,000 more for Wertical than for MAYhem. So they were playing fairly similarly between them. To the right, that's therefore going to be AenyBaenaeny and... No, he was an archer though. He was a cavalry civilization. So a lot Turfuks, I guess, with Simonz. These were archer civilizations. So like 4.5 and 11, it's going to be 15.5. 13.5. And force, it's going to be 17.5. More for Simonz than Lord Turfuks. There is a serious difference. Then the next one is going to be Christheco with whom? Probably Stynz, because they were fighting more against each other. It's a bit interesting actually. Chris was so heavy onto the Shrivamshas. Didn't notice that he was getting too many camels to counter Stynz. As it was there for 13.5, 16.5, and then 3. So it's like 19,500 resources more for Chris than for Stynz. Really, the economy at this point is gonna be way too much. And Krvemlik versus AenyBaenaeny. Baenaeny, not sure how it's supposed to be pronounced in there. The AE for him. There's gonna be some specialty maybe. It's gonna be like 15 and 5, 20,000, 22, 24,000 resources more for Krvemlik than for AenyBaenaeny. Yeah, he didn't unfortunately get the Echo going too well there. And you can see that's also why he's gonna be low on the researches. Chris, he was in the last game also collecting the relics if I'm not mistaken. So he's the only one who kind of thinks about them in some kind of way. You can see unfortunately Any didn't get enough time to get developed into some better economy. But yeah, in the end, just gonna mention that the economies were fairly actually lower. About those 30-35 minutes than we are maybe used to, but nonetheless, doesn't matter. It was still a fairly good match, 50-minute games, both of them, with similar ratings between the teams, and we have definitely seen some good battles. But Czech Republic B is gonna be the one advancing to the second round of the qualifications of Nations Cup 2023, hosted by Wertical and Co. And it's going to be there for congratulations to Krvemlik, Simonz, Christheco and Wertical for today. And for the Germans, they're gonna be having an opportunity to play in the Wood League from the first round, and that's gonna be KO19 Lord Turfuks, MAYhem, AenyBaenaeny, KO19 Stynz, and in the first match, I already unfortunately don't remember, so let me have a look to jolt my memory, so that we name all the players. Reto was playing there, and Ombowombo. Reto and Ombowombo in the first game. No, and I guess at the very end you can also look at the draft again, because he never showed it properly. Didn't have enough time for that. So this is what they are having left potentially for the third game. That would have been the Team Islands. And you can see right now Portuguese and Italians right now sniped. Classic civilizations with otherwise the bands of Mongols, Britons, Lithuanians and Vikings. So you can see they were quite a bit focusing on the water, logically. They had to be. So they were having left Spanish, Koreans, Saracens, and Huns and Cumans. They were still having left. Interesting, they actually chose the Malay on the two rivers then. Would have been maybe way more interesting for the Team Islands. But the Team Islands is not like a directly water map. Plenty people kind of land lately. So it can be played a bit differently. For the opponents it would have been Bengalis, Aztecs. Aztecs, interesting. Then Byzantines and Tatars with Sicilians. Fairly okay civilizations. Sicilians, Byzantines, Bengalis are often used on the water lately. But yeah, that's not something that we are gonna be seeing in this match. So congrats and good luck in further games.